Still Poddable, Still Poddable. Boston Celtics, Still Poddable, Still Poddable.
Oh yeah!
Still Poddable, Still Poddable. Boston Celtics, Still Poddable, Still Poddable.
Banner 18. J. King, Jam, Packard and Brian Robb.
Still Poddable, Still Poddable.
The Jay-Z White in the catalog.
Still Poddable, Still Poddable.
The kids are legends, the gods.
Still Poddable, Still Poddable, Still Poddable. The Boston Celtics, Still Poddable, Still Poddable.
Oh yeah!
I just had to go to a bathroom.
Welcome back to Still Poddable, the best Celtics podcast out there on the interwebs. I am Sam Jam Packard, joined by Brian B. Robb of MassLive.com and Jay King from The Athletic. We are Still Poddable, a daily Monday through Friday Celtics podcast. And if you want that content every single day, Monday through Friday, go to patreon.com/stillpoddable. This is the weekly free show, unless we are on the CLNS YouTube page, and we are brought to you by Prize Picks and the Game Time app. If you want to save some money on either of those two apps, use promo code CLNS. We are recording right now on a Sunday afternoon after the Celtics dominate in Abu Dhabi, just absolutely sweep the Abu Dhabi series. Sure, it's a preseason game, but the Celtics are back in championship form as they attack defending their title odds. Jay, I asked you both for one wild reaction and one wild overreaction and one actual takeaway from these two games in Abu Dhabi. Jay, I'm going to start with you with your wild overreaction about the Celtics play so far.
Baylor Shireman is the worst shooter ever to get drafted in the first round.
Stinks. He made one today. He made one.
He did make one, and then he actually took a heat check after his one make when he was like 1 for 4 or whatever, which I appreciated. I'm just, it's a stupid overreaction. That's not real. Baylor Shireman, he'll settle down. The nerves will disappear. He'll start to make shots. He'll start to contribute to the offense. The first couple games, he's been getting them up, and some bad misses, some ugly misses, extremely unsightly misses for Baylor Shireman so far. Realistically, though, I thought he would have a chance to earn minutes from the start of the season, or at least earn like the 10th man spot. And it looks right now like that's going to Jaden Springer and Jordan Walsh. So that is a disappointment for Baylor Shireman this early in the season. Obviously, a lot can change. We're two preseason games in, but that is a little disappointing for him.
That's a good overreaction, though. I like that. Baylor Shireman stinks. B-Rob, your overreaction.
B-Rob.
I'm gonna go with the Nuggets bench are in a lot of trouble. That could be.
Oh, he goes Nuggets here.
I'm going Nuggets here.
We a Nuggets podcast?
No. Well, here's it. I don't know whether it's the Celtics
podcast?
making. No. I'm doing an overreaction on the game, and the Celtics make a lot of teams look terrible, which could be the case here. It's preseason, but I'm looking at what the Celtics, this destruction they laid out today, and I'm looking at all these guys that need to fill in for, as role players on this Nuggets team if they want to be a contender to go up against Celtics, and I'm looking at them like they have no chance. Like, this is, you have Jokic, and I know Gordon and Porter didn't play today, but there's holes everywhere, and I don't think any of these guys are stepping up. So I think I don't know. I'm crossing off the Nuggets.
Not a Julian Strawther guy.
Not a Strawther guy. Not a Braun. You're Tyson, whatever. Not doing it for me. Russell Westbrook.
I don't know what's going on with B-Rob's audio, but I'm struggling to hear it right now. But anyway, he's not in on the Nuggets bench, and that's a huge question mark for them, obviously. And I think the Celtics bench will probably make a lot of teams look bad based on what happened last year and the insane net rating they had with Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser on the court. But it certainly was. It turned into a blowout, and Pritchard and Hauser were just just controlled the game when they were out there over the first 2 games.
I don't know if I'm more surprised at the B-Rob going for Nuggets for his first overreaction, but I don't even know if that's much of an overreaction. Like,
Right, I don't know. That's the thing. It's borderline.
That's a good old fashioned observation, B-Rob. Yeah, they lost the third quarter 42-16, and just looking at their roster, I don't think that's much of a surprise. But
and Michael Malone ran through basically all of his timeouts during that stretch. It was incredible. He called one 9:37 left in the third quarter. He was ticked off, coming out angry. And then he later called 2 timeouts in a 45-second span. It was like a playoff game. He was using all his timeouts so quick. It was so fun. Absolutely.
In that third quarter, Hunter Tyson was a -27 in 10 minutes. So B-Rob, I don't know if I'm going to give you credit for overreaction. I think
it's a preseason, though, Packard. It's a preseason. You can't judge plus minus in the preseason. That's a huge overreaction.
I can do whatever I want on my own podcast. My overreaction.
I don't think Michael Malone thinks that's an overreaction. I think
you throw the timeouts in here. He was really reacting to a preseason game. Who uses all their timeouts in a preseason game? Michael Malone does.
Can't take him home with you.
My overreaction is that Jaylen Brown is going to be a first-team All-NBA player. The guy's phenomenal. The guy is much bigger, added muscle, continues to get better every single year, and just looks ready to play. I think he's going to get to the free throw line more. I think he's added to his scoring. I just think Jaylen Brown is primed to have his best season as a pro, and he's already had some damn good seasons so far in the NBA. But I think Jaylen Brown makes the leap this year. Not just a leap, the leap. And I don't know how to define the difference between those two. It's more of a feeling, but I have a feeling Jaylen Brown's going to be quite good at basketball this year.
He had a really impressive game. He bullied Jamal Murray at the rim. He hit some really tough 3-pointers, including a pull-up that I was like, what's Jaylen doing? Why is he taking that shot? But it was the passing that did it for me. And like last season, things didn't click for him until about halfway through. Like he was bought in. He was kind of changing the way he played, becoming more of a facilitator. And it didn't click for him for a while. And now he gets it. Like he had 2 kickouts to the corner in transition where he drew the defender and the paint, didn't force it, the guy for a wide open 3. He had that other play where they found him inside and he just dumped it off. I think it was to Cornette. Just like the way he processes the game just continues to improve. And that to me is what's most important, on top of him being in just ridiculous physical conditioning.
Yeah, and I guess I'll go into, on top of that, I'm just with the passing from him. I'm getting like 09 Celtics vibes from this team right now in terms of how they're going to come out. Like the level of passing and chemistry we're seeing right now, I think is, not a huge surprise, but the difference of this group is like guys like Jaylen, Tatum, and Derek White are still like ascending as players on top of it, which you get to a point where Jaylen Brown obviously could very well be a first team All-NBA. I don't think that's an overreaction. That's very much in play.
The Celtics, like, it's very rare to bring back the entire bench, to bring back everybody that matters from a championship team. And so the Celtics most of the guys are young enough that, like you said, they should be ascending, but it's also like there's attrition on most championship teams because you can't afford to keep people. You can't, like, people want more opportunities, whatever. There's just like something that goes wrong that impacts your rotation. And right now, obviously, the Celtics are dealing with Kristaps Porzingis' absence, and they'll be dealing with that for a while. But they have so much back, and the continuity, you could just see it. Like, they're not starting from scratch. There was one play. It was Jason Tatum got doubled. He threw it to the other side to Derek White, who didn't even land. He jumped to catch the pass and just fired it right away to Luke Cornette for an and one. And it was like, they just know how to play together. Tatum knew that White wasn't open, but knew that pass would create the opening. And that's the stuff that really makes a team special. And they just, like, for the second preseason game, less than 2 weeks after they started practice, it was a really, really sharp performance today.
I'm gonna go off that for my, I guess, actual takeaway, and just how seamlessly it feels like Luke Cornett plays with the starters. Just how well he's passing off the short roll. I think it's just like the team has so much continuity. But I've just been impressed with Cornett starting both of these games. I didn't realize Horford, refuses to play in Abu Dhabi. That's his personal choice, but. I just have been impressed by Cornett playing with starters, short roll, immediately catching the ball in the paint and pivoting and finding someone on the other side of the court. And I just think it's going to be especially important with Kristaps being out the first couple of months to have just a guy in there who can keep the ball moving and is not a zero on offense. And so I don't think Cornett had great numbers necessarily in either of the games, but there was just a fluidity of the offense that I thought he kept things moving when he's with the game, and they're just confident with him making that play on the short roll and keeping the ball moving. It's not like he's a zero on offense. He's a playmaker there, and the offense keeps going. And so in terms of actual takeaways, it's like they still feel pretty comfortable, especially on the offensive end of the court with Luke Cornett still in the game. They
felt so comfortable that Jason Tatum hit him with a look-ahead pass in transition. I thought it was going to be a highlight.
It did not go well.
It looked for a second like Cornett was just going to just stroll in there for a big dunk. Nikola Jokic was in the corner, like kind of shrugging, like, why is nobody moving over to guard this 7'1" guy dribbling in transition? Cornett got all the way to the rim. The ball did not make it to the net. It struck the front of the rim, and it was.
How much you think that's gonna be in the film session for the next week?
Just keep showing it. Everybody laughs at Luke Cornett's expense. Yeah, that was a funny moment because obviously that's not his game, but he almost made it work and then just kind of botched the finish.
Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Folks, with the NBA season just around the corner, it's your chance to get in on the fun with Prize Picks. I know we're going to be picking Jason Tatum overs, Peyton Pritchard overs in the preseason, and so that's why you should go to Prize Picks today. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is promo code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. B-Rob, what do you have an actual takeaway in addition to your other actual takeaway about the Nuggets bench being shitty?
Actual takeaway, Sam Hauser in between game. The man took.
I told you, Jay. He's the 2-point daddy. He's the new 2-point daddy. I told you.
What he hit, like two 2-pointers over 2 games. Let's tone it down a little bit.
I mean, 3 of 4 from
3 of 4
today. Took more 2s than 3s today. So he's coming in. We're getting ready to dribble drive. A couple of nice in between shots. I don't know. Probably not good for the efficiency numbers overall here, but the man is expanding his arsenal, if you will. And that's a good thing. Like, if teams are gonna overplay him and he can put the ball on the floor and pull up from mid-range or just get all the way to the basket, like, that's probably just gonna open up more shots for the rest of the team within the ball movement of this offense. And I do think the more drive and kick stuff, if they can just integrate more and more of that now that, like, as Jay went over, like, the chemistry and the continuity is there, that just makes them just even a tougher guard every single night.
If teams are running Hauser off the line and he could do anything in the within the 3-point line, I think that just adds to the offensive efficiency of this team. It may hurt Hauser's numbers, but Jay, I think we did over-unders, and I said he was going to make more than 65 2-pointers across the whole season, and he made 3 in one game today. So I think that helps my argument where you didn't believe. Defend yourself.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You are on pace, except this game doesn't count and actually
It's
means
good.
nothing
It's a
towards
good
the total.
indicator. It's a good indicator.
Is it?
I don't see why not. For my argument right now, for the purposes of this conversation
It's
right now,
the only indicator we have so far. I'll give you that.
exactly. All right, Jay. If you don't want to recognize new 2-point daddy Sam Hauser, what is your main takeaway or one takeaway you have from these first two games? That's not an overreaction.
The biggest takeaway to me is that Springer and Walsh appear to be positioned to take whatever minutes are behind Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser on the bench. And obviously those two guys are questionable shooters at best, but I like the way they played over the first couple of games. You know, Springer, he got over aggressive there in the bonus on one defensive possession and ended up fouling Pickett and sending him to the line. But his ball pressure is unique, really rare for a guy to be able to slide his feet the way he does with the strength that he has. And then I like the way that he and Walsh were able to be complementary pieces offensively. They both had moments today. Walsh had one play where he stole it at one end, dribbled it in transition the other way, led the break himself, and then pivoted and left it off to Sam Hauser for a three. And then Springer had a play in transition where he led the break and then patiently waited. Peyton Pritchard filled the lane. He hit him for three. It's like when you're on the court, you're going to be out there to try to set up the scores, to try to fit into the offense as designed to get shots to other players. And I thought both those guys did that over the first two games. I thought the impact of the games on the offensive glass with their defense and by just being like solid passers. So I was impressed by the way both those guys played, especially after, I don't think anyone outside of the Celtics coaching staff really knew how they would approach the opening that was left by O'Shea Brissett's departure. But it looks so far that Springer and Walsh are in lead position for that. And I think, positive sign that two of the young guys are probably going to take that. Although it doesn't appear that there's a lot of competition for those guys right now.
B-Rob, who would you say has the upper edge right now in terms of Springer or Walsh? And I guess the follow-up question to that is how many minutes are we actually talking about here? Because it's not like O'Shea Brissett played a lot of minutes because it's definitely like the position outside the normal rotation for the Celtics this year.
Right. We're talking about 10 to 15 minutes on nights out doesn't play. I think personally I'm in on Walsh over Springer right now in that horse race. There's still plenty of time to be had, but that sequence that Jay described of him within a steal and then locating Hauser in transition, like that's the type of IQ stuff that is going to be very important for whoever player comes into this role, being like, all right, know what you can do. And I just like Walsh's size, his ability to rebound on both ends of the floor. He's had some, good awareness steals there. The defense is there, but the hoops, the offensive IQ, I think has been better overall than Springer. But Springer obviously has a much stronger track record and played real minutes in the NBA last year with the Sixers. So I could see honestly that like fluctuating matchup to matchup, Jay, like when push comes to shove.
Yeah, and that's kind of how they approached it last season. Like I say Brissett because he handled the biggest. He got the most playing time of that group of guys.
Well, he wasn't traded, so yeah. But Delano Banton erasure and Lamar Stevens erasure won't happen on this podcast.
Yeah, so it wasn't always him, but he did play he played in 55 games, decent amount of games. He played 12 minutes a game in the games that he played. So his role wasn't the most important, but it's like that's a significant role for that number of games. And I think that was one of the only question marks that I had about the Celtics rotation going into the season was how are they going to fill the spare minutes? And it looks right now like those are like Joe is definitely heading to give those minutes to either Springer or Walsh. Lonnie Walker only played.
I would take away from the weekend. Lonnie Walker's not making the 15-minute roster.
Yeah,
better learn down east, Lonnie Walker, because you're going to be a Maine Celtic.
Doesn't look great for Lonnie so far. And Baylor Shireman, there's still plenty of time for him to, make his way into that conversation. But so far, it seems like Springer and Walsh are alone in that competition.
I think that makes sense just because Shireman is a rookie and Springer and Walsh have some NBA experience, and it's just so it takes some just getting used to and reps having there. My instant reaction is that Springer is a little bit more of a – neither of them are great three-point shooters. Neither of them are great offensive players. You guys mentioned the IQ plays that Walsh has made and more connectivity on the offensive end. But in my head, Springer can shoot the ball more efficiently than Walsh. But I agree with you, B-Rob. I think if I had to rank them right now –
what gives you that idea?
Purely vibes. I don't know. You can look at the statistics alone because I think – did Springer hit a three-pointer today?
Yeah, he won.
Walsh hit one on Friday.
What's his career? He's like 20. I mean, they're both.
Walsh hit 2 on Friday.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, maybe I forgot about the second one.
2 for 6.
It could be wrong. I'm telling you, it's based on nothing at all. Who do you think is a better three-point shooter at this point in their career? Is it Walsh or is it Springer?
I think they're both bad. I think they're both bad. I think that could be a problem. But O'Shea never took threes. Like Lamar Stevens was not a three-point shooter. It's not like the Celtics are replacing guys who are deadly three-point shooters. I thought there was a chance that Baylor Shireman would emerge right away, and he would.
Oh, that guy can't shoot either. That guy stinks.
Or Lonnie Walker would kind of seize the opportunity, but not sure that's happening. And so right now it looks like they're going to be choosing between 2 non-shooters. And it's, do you want the guard who can, attack guys defensively, or a kind of do-it-all wing who he'll put up shots. Jordan Walsh will put up shots. It's just not sure a lot of them will go in.
Well, if they both equally suck at shooting, I feel like Walsh has the edge just because of his size and defensive versatility there. And maybe if you need someone like a really guy to like hound someone on the perimeter, you go to Springer. But I do feel like it's Walsh at this point and I love, like, this is the purest of preseason basketball analysis, just talking about the battle. The battle for the 10th man. Let's go to the first
I remember
man.
one year, every day I just wrote a story on RJ Hunter versus James Young. And that was every single day.
You got to relive that.
It was
and no one won. Neither won that competition. All right, let's go from the 9th, 10th man to the roster to the first man on the roster. I'll call him the first man. B-Rob, as a known ball knower yourself, have you looked at the film and the mechanics? Is Jason Tatum's shot fixed?
Done. It's totally miraculous fix by Jason Tatum.
I'm so sick of this conversation.
I'm done. I'm glad we did not bring this up to the 22nd minute here. What do you go?
People on Twitter like, wow, Jason Tatum's shot looks so much better. Like, wow, he really changed everything. It's like the guy shot 38% from 3 last year on tons of attempts. He's always been a very good three-point shooter. This is nothing new. He had one bad playoff run. He did not shoot the ball well during the Olympics over like the span of 15 total attempts. Calm down, everyone. Jason Tatum was always going to be a good shooter, has always been a good shooter, and his shot looks very similar to the way it has always looked.
No, it's wildly different now. It's much faster. The shoulder placement's different. He's flicking the wrist early. I think I heard Scalda say he's flicking his wrist earlier in his shot than he did before, which for me, I've noticed makes a world of difference in three-point shooting. So I think it's fixed. Shout out to Drew Hanlon for fixing those 6 mechanical
What if
things.
he'd missed his last attempt today? So he was 2 for 7 instead of 3 for 7. How would you have felt?
Terribly. I would have said it's not fixed at all. He still has a hitch.
See? It's dumb. So dumb.
It's very dumb. I know we're supposed to be process over results, but I can't figure out the process because I'm not a shock doctor. And thank you, Jay, for calling out all the fakers out there on the people like, oh, everything looks changed. Everything is different in Jason Tatum's shot because it's just like Jason Tatum has said that he needed to work on his shot or his mechanics. And so now it gives everyone an opportunity to
he
say
made a mistake, or somebody made a mistake revealing that, because nobody would be talking about that if they had just come back and nobody had said he made changes. And now the first question that they televised, at least on his press conference, was about the changes in his shot and whether he feels comfortable with it. And he was kind of like, I shot 38% last year, guys. Like every season I kind of do this and figure out what I need to do. And I don't think he was ever concerned. I don't think anyone with the Celtics was ever concerned. It would have been a non-story, except he or somebody let it slip that he changed some things.
I think it was him. I think he just came out and said it. Speaking of his press conference, did you see someone at his press conference today ask him if he was wearing a fake watch?
Yeah.
Bold move from the local press.
No, asked him if he was wearing a children's watch. He said it looked like a children's watch.
But I don't even know what that means. What is a child's watch compared to an adult?
You know, the little like plastic watches that you could go get at like the grocery store or something?
No, I don't. But he just responded, "That's crazy." But it was an absolutely wild question. I
love the fact that some international reporter just immediately gave Tatum shit. It was like
this is Abu Dhabi.
He felt so comfortable that he was just crapped on the guy during his first question. It was awesome.
He's never going to need those questions again. Might as well just get him out.
And it totally derailed the press conference. He and Derek White were just like laughing the rest of the way.
I gotta say, I like the joint press conferences having the two guys up there.
Yes.
I think Derek White got a question about his like great offensive rebounding, and Tatum looked at the box score, was like, you had 2 rebounds in this game. And it was just like they were like laughing about it. I like the dynamic of that. Maybe you guys have a different perspective as beat reporters.
I have a totally different perspective.
Let's hear it.
I want my questions answered legitimately. I don't want two guys like laughing with each other instead.
Oh, that's you're so
I'm not saying it's like the most important job what I do.
But do you think it completely erases the?
But if I ask the question, I would like. Yeah, I think it does sometimes change the dynamic, and sometimes gives you. And sometimes the answers are better. I'll give you that. Like sometimes the dynamic, having a friend up there, kind of loosens things up. But
doesn't the burden fall on you guys to ask better questions at that point and not give them something they can laugh at you for? Not like make fun of their watch or say Derek White's the best offensive rebounder in the league. Like it puts more onus on you. So like to ask a better question.
I wasn't specifically talking about today's press conference. If I ask about your watch, like I don't expect a good answer.
To Jay's point, you definitely get better answers when they're solo, but you get much more entertaining moments when you get the tandem press conferences. And I go back to I love the KG Pierce joint press conferences, like way back. They stopped doing those, but if you go back, you want to go search some of those on YouTube back in the day where they're just giving each other shit, and it can lead to some good quotes, but also just like hilarious moments.
I feel like Tatum and White, and correct me if I'm wrong, how often are they giving you guys real nuggets of insight in a post-game press conference? Tatum, I feel like, is one of the best in the league at speaking in cliches, and Derek White is just a very mild-mannered individual.
You are using a defeatist perspective. For a man who stresses Kaizen and optimism, this is a very defeatist. Oh, we're not going to get good stuff from this guy. We should not maximize.
I'm hopeful for entertainment. I don't care about you and you guys, a little team transcribe. Just
let's move on. I'm pretty 100% certain that nobody cares about the dynamics of a press conference out there.
Football season is back, and it is your opportunity to get in on the action with Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks makes it easier to save on sports, concert, comedy, theater, and more. Any tickets that you want, you can get through the Game Time app. They have all-in pricing. This feature allows you to show the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. seat views, panoramic views from the seat in the app before you buy. That comes with a lowest price guarantee, or if not, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And then Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use the promo code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
All right. Before it feels like we're transitioning to the junk portion of the podcast. But is there any other basketball takeaways you guys want to address before I can dive into my list? Anything basketball? Drew Holiday exists. He was there.
I thought he was awesome defensively to start the game. I was so impressed by Drew Holiday's intensity, especially early on. He made like just a bunch of plays where he was physical, he was disruptive. He was Drew Holiday, and I thought that helped kind of set the tone. Like the first game, the Celtics were very sloppy early on, but in this one, it felt like the starters just played at a high level, and the bench did too. But the starters opened things up at a high level, and through the stretch where White, Brown, and Tatum all played to start the third quarter, they just really controlled the game and really like outplayed the Nuggets a lot, except for all the fouls that the Celtics had that sent the Nuggets to the line.
All I got left is Xavier Tillman above the break sharpshooter.
He's launching.
Look out.
Do we think that's for real?
No.
Oh, no. Not necessarily the making him part, but do we think him taking him is something that's going to actually happen in the regular season?
I feel like
not hesitating much.
I feel like they've been on him to shoot it. I feel like if he shoots it, even at a respectable level, those will be shots that are wide open all the time. Nobody's going to overreact to Tillman, even if he makes a few. So,
yeah, but did everyone watch?
I feel like he'll take them.
Him making that three in Game 3 of the NBA Finals changed everything. And so if people don't react to it, they haven't been watching the proper film, in my opinion.
I mean, you could just look at his basketball reference page and see all the ugly three-point percentages in his past, and that's probably more telling than one make in the finals.
I'm the one trying to be hopeful about and Kaizen about, Xavier Tillman's possible three-point dynamic attack. But if he's open, I think he's going to shoot him. I don't know how much he's going to make him. I agree. I don't know how real that is. All right, Jay. We got to talk about your embarrassing moment on Friday night. And it's not just an embarrassing moment for you. I would say it's an embarrassing moment for all parties involved.
I don't think it was embarrassing for me at all.
I think it's absolutely embarrassing for you. Let's describe it.
What happened.
Let's describe it. Mark D'Amico, Celtics reporter, Peyton Pritchard was going off as Peyton Pritchard does in moments when he's with the second team. And Mark D'Amico tweeted something about all the naysayers of Peyton Pritchard's contract extension. And Jay responded, "What naysayers? The ones in your head?" And then Mark D'Amico
I enjoyed that response.
Mark D'Amico responded with a picture of a tweet of Jay King saying that it was a bad signing for Peyton to re-sign Peyton Pritchard because he had his lowest field goal percentage and lowest efficiency in years. And then Jay King responded to that tweet, a photo of a tweet, not an actual tweet. He didn't copy the link to the tweet, a photo of a tweet saying, "Didn't you know that was obviously sarcastic?" The problem is it was a Photoshop, Jay. You never actually tweeted that. And so the reason you look like an idiot is because you defended yourself. You defended your own fake tweet as sarcastic, but you never tweeted it at all.
Well, here's the thing. The way it was written, it certainly looked like sarcasm. I'd never in a million years would have guessed that Mark D'Amico would Photoshop an old tweet of pretending to be from me and put that on Twitter and act like, and to me, that's a sign. He couldn't find anyone who was a critic of that extension at the time. So he decided, I'll Photoshop Jay saying something bad. And so I never in a million years thought that wasn't a real tweet. The way it was written,
I did.
and certainly
I did because
knew
that it wasn't.
I
in
knew
your
my
voice.
thoughts at the time, and it was very clearly like of value extension that had a chance to be pretty good if Pritchard emerged as a solid bench player, which I think at the time, losing Malcolm Brogdon, everyone thought that he would. And so I just thought, I didn't think it was embarrassing on me at all. Who would think that someone would fake that?
Here's the thing, though. The fake Photoshop.
It was why my brain was in a pretzel, though. I've never would have guessed that one.
The fake tweet was like in a weird, like sarcastic tone that you don't tweet in whatsoever. And so as soon as I read the fake tweet, I was like, that's not a Jay tweet.
Yeah.
Jay would not tweet, be like,
it crossed my mind. I was like,
travesty?
I don't think, like, why would I tweet that in that manner?
you would not have called it a travesty that they signed him sarcastically.
flag.
That's just not how you do it.
Yeah, it should have tipped me off. But again, goes back to what kind of weirdo photoshops an old tweet.
Well, here's the thing. Did you ever
You're
search?
in his head, Jay. You're in his head for
You're
him to go
definitely
the
in his head.
Photoshop route.
D'Amico looks worse than you do. Going out of your way to Photoshop, by all means, is the worst look here. But at any point, did you search to confirm that was a real tweet of yours? Or you
I
just
had no
accepted it as
idea.
fact?
I just went along with my life. I had no idea until B-Rob texted us in the group saying, "Did you get got by a Photoshop?" And I was like, wait, he photoshopped that? And then I searched. After that, I searched to see if I had ever tweeted that. I had not, and that was so. B-Rob tipped me off. I wasn't on Twitter at that time, and I hadn't seen like his follow-up tweet saying that he had photoshopped it. So that was, weird moment
for him to put that as by the by and leave that up originally, and then so there's like hundreds of people burying you, thinking that you were burying it. I don't know. It's just not a good look because, like you said, Jay, like your argument here was right. I don't know anyone who buried this Peyton Pritchard contract when it came out, and so it was a reach on his end initially, and he deserved.
I had fun. I don't care if it was embarrassing that I got by a Photoshop of my own tweet. I had fun. D'Amico and I were texting about it. We both had laughs, and we'll move on.
Just sets a dangerous precedent to just be photoshopping other people's tweets. You know, it's like a slippery slope that I don't think we should go down. And I'm frankly surprised that it wasn't me to be the first one to cross this threshold, trying to embarrass Jay King with his own tweets. And I
think that should be a new thing. I think people online should start photoshopping wild tweets of mine that are
and to see if you can identify your own tweets or not. I mean,
I've already proven that I cannot. But I think if people tested me and if I knew it was coming, I'd be more likely to have my antenna up.
All right, here's another test for you. Scal and Drew Carter are on the broadcast. Scal is, I think you and Scal are similar, Jay, in that you're just curmudgeonly men who only think about basketball. And so I have a two-part question for you. Scal answered negative to both of these questions. Do you know who Sabrina Carpenter is? And do you know what the phrase gaslighting means?
So I don't know what gaslighting means. I'm with Scal on this one. I hear it all the time. People say gaslighting all the time. I definitely don't know what it means. And then who is Sabrina Carpenter?
Sabrina Carpenter is a musical artist. You might know her song Espresso. It's very famous over the summer.
Definitely don't know the song Espresso.
Your wife probably does. But I'm not surprised you how do you not know the phrase gaslighting? It's like a very common
people say it all the time.
Phrase.
I don't care what it means. And
where is your intellectual curiosity to be like, oh, here's a thing people are talking about a lot. I want to know what they're saying.
No, I just think it's stupid, and so I don't care to find out what it means.
You gaslight a lot, Jay King, is the issue, though.
Do you have a guess what it means based on the usage of it?
Yeah, Jay, what is your best guess for gaslighting?
I truly don't care and will not.
I think you're gaslighting us right now, saying you don't care.
Maybe.
just to let you know and the audience know, gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse or manipulation in which the abuser attempts to sow self-doubt and confusion in their victim's mind. It's when you kind of pretend something is that is untrue is true, basically to try and make the other person question themselves. And so
when
you're trying to gaslight.
When you Photoshop someone's tweet.
Yeah, but this D'Amico gaslit you.
Yeah, you got gaslit, but you're trying to gaslight me and Brian right now by saying that you don't care about the definition, because I think it's insane. I think you do care. I think you're just trying to put on airs right now.
If I've lasted this long without knowing what it means, I think you can believe me when I say that.
I think you do know what it means, and you're gaslighting us to.
Now I do. Thanks to you guys. Appreciate you.
All right. Speaking of Scal and Drew Carter, what'd you guys think of LeBron James, of all people, calling them out on Twitter because they said he threw Russell Westbrook under the bus in LA?
They didn't say that he threw Russell Westbrook under the bus.
He said it was a scapegoat.
They said that Russell Westbrook was a scapegoat, and then Drew said, "Oh, one of LeBron's teammates becoming a scapegoat. Shocking," or whatever he said. So they didn't say that LeBron threw him under the bus. They said he became a scapegoat on LeBron's team, as other players have done in the past. It was interesting because LeBron responded. I don't know why people just took that one moment out of the broadcast. It was not really a serious moment. It was not.
It's because it was the only basketball on, and so Legion Hoops had to aggregate it because there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, and I guess, and then LeBron saw it and reacted, and I mean it is like, so this is the one like serious part of it is you don't like it. You can't just take shots, or maybe you can, but it's like if you take a shot at LeBron James, even if it's very light, even if it's not very serious, like I don't know if that's the best thing to do if you're Drew Carter. And maybe it's something he'll learn from as a young announcer. Maybe it's something he doesn't care about and we'll just keep saying it. And I think that's totally fine too, because it really didn't matter, even though LeBron responded to it. I thought it was funny how they reacted today to it. And Scal just said, thanks LeBron for watching.
Yeah,
and then they said they did breakfast. Yeah. So
it is like
it was weird. It was just weird. LeBron responded to it like it was serious. And
yeah, he made it the story. Like him responding is the story here. And yeah, like the fact that there's no other basketball games on right now. Like everyone, like everyone was watching this game because this is the first game of the season. And so including obviously a lot of anything with LeBron gets clicks and eyeballs. And so it got out there, and yeah, I don't think they said anything out of line. It's just like, you're going to be the number of people watching you is just higher for this game.
I do like that LeBron accused them of traveling all the way to Abu Dhabi just to talk shit about them. And no, sir. They're in a Needham studio right now talking shit about you. So it's wild.
They're comfortably doing it from their homes.
Do you have, guys, any other junk or observations from the Celtics trip to Abu Dhabi? I just have in my notes, game 1 on Friday, Demias Queta let out a ferocious scream when he thought he was open in the post and did not get the ball. I didn't know Nimi had it in him, but I did like that from him.
I don't think Nimi should be spending too much time calling for the ball.
Shots fired.
No, I'm not. That wasn't a shot. It's just like that's not your role. Just
no, Nimi's going to quote tweet this. He's going to quote tweet this. Yeah. Say, how dare you talk about me? Travel all the way to Abu Dhabi to talk shit.
Yep. Here we are in Abu Dhabi of South Boston.
I also liked Chris Forsberg's, all his reporting from Abu Dhabi, but he was just like, they brought in all these sports scientists to talk about how to deal with the jet lag and everything like that, and it's a strategic, and Peyton Pritchard refused to listen to any of it. Peyton Pritchard hates science, and he was just like, I'm going to go hoop, and that's what Peyton Pritchard does. So good for Peyton Pritchard. Screw the scientists. He doesn't care about jet lag. He's just going to go and get buckets.
I feel like that's how Joe Mazzulla thinks too. It's like I'm sure he knows all this science and is aware of all the science, and then he's like, doesn't matter what that is. We just have to overcome it. No
So
excuse.
maybe Joe Mazzulla told him to screw the scientists.
Perhaps. Maybe they're on a march against science.
Perhaps. Neither of you guys are going to care about this, but like soccer royalty visited the team in between games. It was like Thierry Henry, Ronaldinho, PK, just a whole bunch of guys who were just
Who's the last one?
PK.
No clue.
You've heard of the other guys though, right?
Yeah, which means they must be really good at soccer.
Gerard Piqué, he's a Spanish soccer player.
Did you see the Porzingis picture, Packard?
Yeah, that was
The
the thing.
locker
It's just
room?
like Thierry Henry just like drawing up a play for Joe Mazzulla. I thought that was very cool. I didn't know everyone just casually hung out in Abu Dhabi. Maybe they were there for the Abu Dhabi games, but I just thought it was cool to see all those guys interacting with the Celtics. I know a lot of the Celtics are big footy fans. Speaking of football, great win for the Gulls today. 3-2 over Tottenham. 3 goals in the second half. 6th in the league. People are excited. But that's all I got in terms of junk. Any other observations from the Celtics' time in Abu Dhabi?
I think we
Get
got it
on.
all, baby.
All right, folks. That's going to be our time here. This has been the free version. If you enjoy this podcast and want Celtics coverage Monday through Friday, go to patreon.com/stillpoddable. We got podcasts for you every single day, Monday through Friday. We also got smaller bonus content. It's called J-Mail. Jay King asks or answers voicemail every single day. If you want to ask Jay a question, go to the phone number or call the phone number 617-684-5965. The number is 617-684-5965. Ask Jay about the Celtics. Ask Jay about life. Ask Jay anything. He's answering questions. And that is all on patreon.com/stillpoddable. We'll be back for more tomorrow with more Still Poddable, breaking down the Celtics. I think we're going to be starting our previews, previewing the Celtics against every single team in the league. So look forward to that next week. We appreciate you guys listening to this episode of Still Poddable.
Still Poddable, Still Poddable. The Boston Celtics still Poddable.